EDM. They are pop. Specifically, Save Me, if you listen to it, it kind of reminds you of like Sorry from Justin Bieber. For a better way to say it, I could have heard Justin Bieber have that song. And again, it's a great era for them. They're now becoming the group that people are looking at as like, I want to be you. And they're making a way internationally. 2016 was the same year that they end up headlining KCON New York for the first time. And KCON LA, so they're building in that Western hemisphere. Now we come to Wings. Now we get to Wings, bitch! They promote the dropping of this album as very personal. They're like, yo, this is the first album where we have had full control. They had Blood, Sweat, and Tears as their title track, and there will never be another Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I promise you. Each member has their own solo song. These are very personal to them. And if you listen, Wings brings back a side of BTS that niggas ain't seen in a while. That hip-hop R&B side, specifically that R&B side. This is when Taehyung and Jimin are really in their moment. And it was a really big album for their fans. For some reason, Blood, Sweat, and Tears did not do what it should have done, which is insane because that is probably one of their best comebacks. I was 16 years old. I was like, this is grown. I'm feeling things that I don't think are appropriate for me to say. This is when the fan base really starts to become unhinged. Wings, for them to have marketed this as an album that meant something to them, like something that they had wanted, and it was nothing but like a whole bunch of R&B, hip-hop influences with a little bit of EDM, a little bit of pop. We recognize you, 21st century girl. Am I wrong? We see you. But the fact that Blood, Sweat, and Tears didn't do what the next album following did. Let's jump to 2017, because this is when they make it in America. DNA, that song is being played everywhere. They're going to American music performances to perform that song. Love Yourself era, love yourself era. Get to the love yourself era. They were working with Chainsmokers with Best of Me. They got their first win at like the American Music Awards, and it was just a fandom trophy. And then they got to perform, but it was just like, it was really big because it was like, oh my God, they finally did it. They did it with a pop album, with a K-pop album. When Wings dropped, there was a moment on Apple Music that this was labeled specifically R&B. It has surpassed like Drake's album that he had dropped this year. Everybody was like, yeah, no. Take these niggas seriously. Which is why it breaks my heart that this is when they got taken seriously, because that's when their fan base has hit a skyrocketing jump of like Western international fans. Remember, somewhere in this timeline, One Direction stops being a thing. There's this group of like insane girls that are like, I don't know what to do anymore. I need something new. And they discover BTS and they're like, oh, these are my boys. Oh, I want to hear them speak English. Oh, I want to hear their music in English. And you can just hear it from their sound how they really try to lock in to that Western side. And I say this because go listen to any of them niggas solo albums. Most of them are still heavily tapped into that hip hop R&B side, and they still want to do that type of music. Yet, if you look at how those albums are recognized by their own fandom, tried to drag Taehyung's EP because it didn't sound like what they thought it was supposed to sound like. As if his first solo song wasn't Stigma.